Archfiend, the angry Kraken. Once upon a time, in a bustling port town, there lived a merchant sea captain. He had been a sailor all his life, and loved his ship more than anything else in the world. In the dockside taverns, they would joke that the captain cared more for his ship than he did his wife. One day, a local nobleman summoned the captain to his palace, saying that he had a job for him. There was valuable cargo that he needed to transport. 3 days into the voyage, a group of pirate ships were spotted on the horizon. Before long, the pirates had closed in on the captain's heavily laden ship. They were preparing to board. The captain's crew were no match. For the battle-hardened pirates, casualties mounted, and before long, the captain himself had been taken prisoner and tied up with the ropes. Then, before the captain's very eyes, the pirates hoisted the skull and crossbones up to the mast of his beloved ship. The ultimate insult to any seafaring man. As soon as the flag reached the top, the pirate leader gave a hearty laugh and instructed his men to throw the captain overboard. When he came round, the captain learned of his rescue by a group of merchants. Even before he'd fully recovered, the captain had decided on his next course of action. He thought only of one thing. It wasn't the fate of his cargo or crew, and it certainly wasn't gratitude towards his rescuers. All he could think about was getting his beloved ship back. He would give his life just to stand on her deck once more. In the years that followed, the captain became a respected naval officer. His commitment to maintaining the safety of the high seas led to him becoming known as the Pirate Slayer. He assembled a crew who were utterly devoted and became highly regarded in seafaring circles. Reputation and regard meant nothing to the captain. However, they were not what he lived for. There was only one thing that could fill the cavernous hole in his soul: his beloved ship. One day, in the course of his patrols, the captain finally came across the pirates who had stolen his ship all those years ago. He ordered his crew to give chase. Soon enough, they drew up alongside and boarded the ship. But the pirates were as ferocious as before, and their leader struck the captain with a slash to the stomach. Tepid entrails oozed onto the deck. As his consciousness waned, the captain started praying. It cannot end like this. I need my ship. At that very moment, the captain heard a voice. It sounded as though it was coming from the bottom of the sea. A chalice appeared before him. I can grant you your wish, as long as you are prepared to pay the price. The captain, squatting in a pool of his own blood, nodded his assent. Almost instantly, the sky darkened, and the captain's body changed beyond all recognition. The organs that had fallen out of his body began to swell, and his exposed entrails grew longer and thicker. Whether he was aware of it or not, the captain was being the captain's wish was being granted. His entrails became giant tentacles, now crushing and squeezing the life out of the pirates that were on board his ship. Before long, the pirates were all dead. All the captain had to do now was take down that infernal flag, and the ship was his once more. The captain never did get his ship back, however, and he only had himself to blame. As soon as the pirates had been routed, the fluid secreted by the captain's exposed organs started seeping onto the deck, burning through the wooden boards. By the time the captain realized, it was too late. Several holes appeared, allowing seawater to gush in. The ship began to list before slowly sinking towards the bottom of the sea. Most of his crew were saved by returning to their naval vessel, but the captain remained crouched on the deck. He was determined to go down with his beloved ship as it sank into the murky brine. The captain did not drown as a human would have done. His humanity was lost after all. Clinging to his beloved ship as it submerged, he commenced his underwater existence. Lamenting all the while, the captain clung to his beloved ship as it sank to the ocean floor. So unbearable was the thought, he wanted to tear out his own engorged intestines. Later, after fish and sea creatures had begun to dwell in the sunken ship, the chalice appeared before the captain once more. Stronger desires require greater sacrifices. Surely there is something left for you to offer. The chalice's words seemed to strike a chord within the captain. He rose to the surface of the water. He began his search. He was looking for a ship. Eventually he found it. The naval vessel on which he had served. His former crew could scarcely conceal their disgust when they saw what had became of their captain. Hauling himself on deck, the captain sprayed his former crew with intestinal fluid until their flesh melted and they screamed in agony. He then melded their corpses on his own flesh, his body growing ever larger. Growing and contorting, he took on a familiar appearance, his fond remembrance crystal clear. He sought to recreate every detail, and the resemblance was so uncanny. It was easy to forget this was built from human flesh. He looked just like his beloved ship. He had become a recreation of what he had lost. Though the captain was delighted to have his ship back, he remained unsatisfied. His work was not yet complete. There were still some details he needed to recreate. He needed more material. Not only has the captain's appearance become fully monstrous, he is totally incapable of any human consideration. He continues to prowl the depths of the ocean, seeking to recreate his beloved ship, relentlessly searching for more flesh.